everybody, and welcome back to Blanche Case Fitness. It's Friday, and you know what that means? It's time for functional home fitness, where we do weight training using objects you can find around the house. I'm really sorry for the delay in getting started. Usually I like to have the stream live 5 to 10 minutes before our expected start time, but Streamlabs had to update, and then I had to log into Twitch, and it was just, there was an obnoxious delay that didn't need to happen, but happened. But it's okay, because we're here now. Hello, yes, I'm really sorry about Wednesday. That was, not necessarily the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life, but it ranks up there. Yeah, will not be participating in hot sauce eating competitions going forward, because that was just unpleasant in every possible way. And it meant that I didn't get to teach, which was a huge bummer because I was excited to teach on Wednesday. But yeah, definitely got to 4 in the afternoon and was like, I just don't think that I can do that. I think I still need to be lying here on the couch. So yes, I hope that you were still able to have a good workout with one of the VODs. I linked one in my posts, so hopefully you saw that. But yes, thank you for not laughing too hard at your ridiculous instructor. Yeah, it was here's the thing, American hot sauce, really hot sauces are all about function and not about flavor, and it's just so unpleasant. I had tried a bit of this hot sauce a couple days prior, and putting aside the fact that eating a full tablespoon of hot sauce is a bad idea, it just didn't taste good. It just had this really unpleasant chemically taste to it, and it was I would never want to put this on anything because it's not imparting any flavor. It's only imparting heat. And there are so many cuisines out there that do spicy food so incredibly well and do them where, your mouth is burning, but you want to keep eating because it tastes so delicious. And this is not one of those sauces. So yeah, I literally was like, okay, time to throw this hot sauce bottle in the fires of Mount Doom because I don't want to look at it again. I do not even want to remember that it exists. So yeah, that was an adventure of a Wednesday. And of course, Wednesday night, it snowed like crazy in the Boulder, Denver area. It was, it had been supposed to happen all day. Yeah, no, the fires of Mount Doom probably wouldn't accept this sauce because it was already too hot. No, it had been supposed to snow all day, and it didn't start until 5 or 6. But when it started, it was the sky opened up and said, all right, I'm supposed to be dropping 6 inches on y'all, and I'm getting a late start. I only just got out of bed, so... And it was just, it came down practically instantaneously. It was fascinating. So we got tons of snow over Friday night, which means that we are back to looking pretty winter wonderlandy, which is always lovely. It is nice, although I have to say, it's interesting because I feel a lot of people are getting tired of winter sooner this year than usual. And I'm not yet, I'm still really enjoying the snow, but I understand it because the only opportunity to even try and socialize with people in anything approximating a safe manner is outside. And that's not possible when it's like 25 degrees and there's snow everywhere. And so I think it's just, it is an extension of how tired people are and how lonely they are and how much they miss people. And it's like, yeah, I get that. Like, I still am very glad that it's still snowing because Colorado is a very dry state. As you know, I always appreciate the precipitation around here, but I do get it. And I am looking forward to warmer weather and the ability to maybe stand around outside awkwardly with people again. So we'll see. But oh my goodness, what a week. What a week. It was probably one of my most unproductive work days on Wednesday. My saving grace was the fact that it was an event with coworkers, so everybody knew what I had done. So people were like, oh yeah, no, totally gotcha. But we're here. It's Friday. It is hopefully the end of your work week. Not for everybody, but for many of you. And if it is the end of your work week, congratulations, you made it to Friday. And if it is not the end of your work week, then we are going to get you some good energy and strength for the rest of your work week. Alrighty? That is our goal. If you are brand new to this class in particular or to my streams in general, welcome. Fridays are functional home fitness, where we get a good weight training workout in, but we do it using objects you can find around the house. Get ready. Yeah, I'm gonna get you ready for the worm, the dune worms, right? The sandworms. I mean, it's a very apt visual bookworming your way around the library. But yes, so I have 2 advisories for this class. One of them is specific to this class, and one is more general information about safe free weight training. The specific advisory is, hey, we're doing weight training with objects that are not designed to be exercise weights. So they're not necessarily ergonomically designed so that you have a consistent center of gravity. They don't have the amount of weight nicely written on the side. So if this is your first class and you are just getting to know the objects that you want to use for class, always err on the side of caution when you are determining your loads for different exercises, okay? Start lighter. Go through the first set, and if you get through that set and you're like, okay, that was too light, I think I can go heavier. Cool, do that. Or you may get through the set and be like, oh, you know what? That was just perfect. Or you may be like, that was definitely a little too hard. I'm gonna downshift a bit. But just start lighter, and that way you can gather more information and you can more safely add additional weight on. Because we're using lots of random stuff today. I've got my trusty laundry detergent bottle, which is a staple in class. The second advisory is more focused on free weight training in general. We are not symmetrical creatures. We have a stronger side and a weaker side, and we have a tendency when we're doing free weight training, i.e. when we have one weight in one hand and one weight in the other hand, and our arms are moving independently to move those weights through space, we have a tendency to go, oh, well, I want to pump up my weaker side so that it matches my stronger side. So I'm going to load my weaker side to what my stronger side can do. Bad idea. Overloading your weaker side is not going to help strengthen it more quickly. What it is going to do is fast track your way to injury town. Because if you're using a weight that is too heavy for that arm, then you're going to be making unhealthy compensations just to try to move the weight through space. More likely that you lose full control of the weight, and very, very likely that you end up injuring yourself, okay? So always load yourself based on the capacity of your weaker side, okay? Because it's not going to cause any issues for your stronger side if it uses a weight that is slightly lighter than what it could do. But it is going to potentially cause a lot of issues for your weaker side if you overload it under the guise of, well, I want to pump it up more quickly, okay? So those are our advisories. And yeah, let's get going. Let's do our pre-class checklist. So everybody's got your water in whatever vessel you carry it in. I've done a good job hydrating today, I can tell. Awesome. You've got your comfy clothes on, whatever that means to you, your mat or mat-sized space on the floor. You've got your weightlifting equipment, whatever you've gathered together. I'm gonna just be using my laundry detergent bottle today, but I'll try and describe like the type of item that will be most useful for each exercise, you know, so that you can choose wisely, but never hurts to just gather a pile of stuff, have it at the ready, because everybody's different. And again, you might have access to things that I don't, and it may make more sense for you to use those things. And if you use a fitness wearable, now is the time for us to turn them on, not to high intensity interval training. We will use a traditional strength training setting, because after we get out of the warm up, we're not really going to be doing anything HIIT-like. Alrighty? So there we go. I'd say it's time to get started, my friends. So, let's do the warm up. Okay. Awkwardly scooting across the floor. So graceful. Can't you tell that my phone battery is low. Here's hoping you last through the class. Thankfully, I don't think that Ultra Timer takes a lot of battery life. All right, on your mats, on your backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee. And when you hear that horn go off, we will begin with hip rocks and bridges. Hi-ya! There we go. All right. It definitely feels like the end of the week. You know, I can tell that I have expended a lot of mental energy, and my brain is at that point where it's like, okay, it's time for a break. New WandaVision out tonight, and just time to really relax. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I hope that you are getting a good amount of relaxation this weekend too. Whether or not it's supposed to snow where you are, I think it may be supposed to snow more tomorrow, which is just wild considering the amount of snow that we got on Wednesday. But again, I will never argue with precipitation, though I do eventually get tired of winter, just like everybody else. But it's just so important to get as much precipitation as we can around here, considering the fire seasons that we have, considering how dry the state is just because of the altitude that we're at. You know, it is something that I always appreciate. I feel like I am very hyper attuned to precipitation levels. Plus, I've got to start planning gardening for the coming season. I think that planting times are coming up, and I need to figure out what I want to do with my little backyard space, which is just so exciting. Oh my goodness. I can actually make a plan for what I want to do with all of that backyard space. And yeah, I have no idea what I want it to look like. I talked a few weeks ago about, you know, some of my longer term plans for this space, but like for the first year, you know, I don't think I necessarily need to dive right into a massive backyard overhaul. Probably better to take it a little bit slower, but I do want to start, you know, just planning things out and start doing a little proof of concept work out there and see how it ends up. So yeah, I need to actually sit down and make some plans. Oh my goodness. That's always exciting. It feels nice to plan. I feel like 2020 was such a lost year in terms of making plans, you know? You know, like, I know for me personally, like, there are a lot of areas where I just am not bothering to plan right now. And planning has never been a huge focus point of mine in general. I've gotten better at it as I've gotten older, but I also appreciate my ability to sort of take opportunities as they come rather than worrying about sticking to very specific roadmaps for myself. But, you know, there's so many things where I just have not bothered to even open up the opportunity to plan, because it's like, it's clearly not going to be relevant for a while. And, you know, part of being able to care for myself mentally was around just allowing myself to sort of settle into, okay, this is what life is going to look like for a while. And these types of activities that I would usually be planning out for myself for at least the next year, I'm not gonna worry about them right now. I don't have the bandwidth to worry about them. And you know, it's weird because now we're in this weird like medium space, you know, where there's a light at the end of the tunnel, absolutely. And, you know, there is a potential for starting to make tentative plans again. But I'm so concerned about the people who are out there going, cool, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, therefore we're at the end of the tunnel and everything's back to normal. And it's like, well, that's assuredly not true. And so, you know, there's a part of me that I think is being more cautious than I need to be, just because that attitude frustrates the hell out of me, because it's not helpful. And honestly, like, trying to go back to pretending that everything is normal before we actually have critical mass of vaccinations is going to just make the entire process even longer and make it even more likely that we get more new strains and, you know, continue to get impacted. And it's like, so there's a part of my brain that is definitely being overly cautious about even starting to like make tentative plans. You know, even something as simple as, like, you see, I saw going around online the other day, like, people just asking, like, what's the first thing you want to do when, you know, things go back to normal, or when you're fully vaccinated, or, you know, something like that. And I'm like, I don't even want to play that game right now. I don't want to play that game because it's still going to be several months before I'm even eligible, you know, because I work from home. I am very rightly at the bottom of the list, and I'm not mad about that, because quite frankly, the people who need to get vaccinated right now are vulnerable populations, and the people who do not have the option to work from home, like, they need to be vaccinated. All these people who are still being forced out into the workplace because our government has apparently decided that it does not care that we're putting their lives in danger, they need to be vaccinated before I do. And that's totally fine. But, you know, because it is going to be such a long time before I'm even eligible, I'm like, well, why would I even bother thinking about that? It's not going to make me feel better right now to think about this thing that I'm still not going to be able to do for several months. Like, I'll start thinking about what's the first thing I'm gonna do when I have like my second appointment scheduled and I'm, you know, a few weeks out from, you know, the protection fully propagating. But right now, it's honestly not going to cheer me up to think too deeply into what I will do when everything, you know, and I hate saying when everything is normal, because that's just not actually what's happening here. Just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean you're 100% protected. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't still be wearing a mask out in public, and being cautious with travel, being cautious with going out to dinner or to the grocery store, you know. There's just so much that has to happen before we get to a place where we can interact with other human beings without the huge element of potential danger that exists right now. And so saying, what are you going to do when things get back to normal? It's like, well, that's a useless question, because things aren't going to be back to quote unquote normal for probably another year. Considering how slowly the vaccine rollouts are going, and you know, the buildup of additional strains that may or may not need different vaccinations or enhanced vaccinations to keep us safe. Like, there's so much that still needs to be done. I don't remember how I got on this train. I recognize it's a little bit of a sad sad road to go down, but you know, it's a thing that I'm thinking about a lot, and it's a thing that we're all thinking about a lot, because this has been miserable, and I am so worried for so many of my friends and loved ones, you know, who are struggling, who are feeling completely isolated from their people and their communities, who are feeling completely alone and are not comfortable reaching out for help because they know that everybody's going through stuff right now. Like, that is so hard, and so many people that I know and love are dealing with that. And it's like, you know, my automatic impulse is, how do I help? And the answer that I have to come to terms with is, I am not necessarily going to be able to help, you know? Like, I can reach out to people, and I do, absolutely. I try to make a point of scheduling one-on-one calls with friends on a regular basis so that we can see each other's faces and hear each other's voices. You know, I make it a point to text people as much as I can, but like, that's only going to do so much, right? There is only so much that I can do to help support people, and that's a hard thing to come to terms with, but you know, I'm gonna do what I can, which is all that I can do, and that's the most important thing from my perspective. And you know, I hope that you're reaching out to your people as well and checking in on them, and noticing too, who are the people that you haven't reached out to in a while, you know? Who are the people that you're super close to in the before times, but haven't necessarily heard from much or at all over the last few months? Like, we gotta check in on each other, my friends, because right now we're all in these little individual spaceship pods, and it's lonely out there. we're just sort of trying to look at each other through the airlock doors, and it's lonely and it's hard, and we all need some extra support, and we all need to be paying attention to, you know, if we are sort of sinking into isolation and not necessarily reaching out when we need help, and then also paying attention to who are the people in my life who may be doing that as well, you know? I know a lot of introverts, and this is a very interesting time to be an introvert, because in some ways you're very well suited to this mode of living, and in other ways it exacerbates more negative aspects of introversion, you know, withdrawing from people, not reaching out for people. It can start to transition into loneliness as opposed to just enjoying alone time. So yeah, maybe over the next week, couple of weeks, especially since we are heading into March. Oh God, I had even forgotten that. Especially now that we're heading into March, now that it's been almost a year since the world really shut down, check in on your people and on yourself, and try to be honest with yourself about how you're feeling, you know, and what your needs may be, because we need to take care of each other, my friends. It is so important for us to put that effort in to make sure that even though we're not able to see each other in physical space, that we are still being there for each other in whatever ways we can. And those ways shift over time, and that's fun too, you know? Beginning of this, lots of group video calls. That's not necessarily as palatable a thing anymore now that we have a year of, you know, all Zoom all the time. But yeah, just taking care of each other. Woo! Chat blew up. Love it. Love it, love it. Ooh, Amanda, I like that. Normal as the things I need to be able to not feel horrible. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, my loves, it's Friday. We love this day. I love this day. This has become like a really zen class, I think, which I enjoy. It's very unlike the personality of my other classes, and I like that a lot. I should grow hot peppers. I have done before, so we'll see. I will not be growing Apollo peppers, though. That pepper can burn in the fires that made it. All right. Now, let's see here. What are we doing? We're doing class. We're weightlifting. That's where we are. That's what's happening. We're gonna have 4 exercises today, I think. Yeah, 2 of them are gonna be side 1 and side 2. But ching, oh my God, of a single exercise. And then the other two will be 2 other exercises. Look, one of the best compliments I have gotten, and you know, it's less obvious when I have the green hair, but somebody did say I looked like Kara Thrace at one point, and that was just awesome. Just awesome. I'd love to cosplay as Starbuck eventually. All right. Thanks. Okay, so our exercises. Hiya! The first 2 are going to be side 1 and side 2. And it's going to be a lunged bent over row, essentially, with one arm. So I love doing bent over rows, but it's really hard to find 2 random objects in our houses that are the same weight and the same or similar enough shape, and are heavy enough for what we want to do with them. So I tend to not do them in this class, which is sad. So we're going to do bent over rows, but one arm at a time. So we're going to take basically just a little bit of a lunge position, not a huge lunge, holding the weight in front of us. You can have a hand on the thigh or knee to steady you, and then just rowing. So I'm going to be using my laundry detergent bottle. If I was using gym equipment, I would use either a kettlebell or a dumbbell, honestly. But for random stuff around the house, I want something with a top handle. So this bottle is great for me. Tote bags and backpacks with a top handle are also really great. And then we take that lunge. You see how I'm just letting the weight drop down towards the floor, but my shoulder's engaged. I don't want it being pulled down by the weight, okay? And then row up and down and up and down. And then side 2 will be same thing, other side. Again, I can have my hand on my knee to stabilize me and just sort of help keep that foundation really strong, okay? So that's 1 and 2. Exercise 3, we're gonna do wide turned out squats. I used to call them sumo squats. I'm trying to move away from that name, but I don't have a catchy name for them yet. So if I was doing these with gym equipment, I would use 2 dumbbells for this and just hold them down with my palms facing towards one another in front of me. Again, my modification for exercises that I'm doing with both arms tends to be 1 heavier weight in the center. So I'm going to use this laundry detergent bottle again, and feet turned out, nice wide position, and we just squat down and up and down and up. Engaging the core to make sure that we're not letting ourselves get pulled over by the weight. Again, you always want to be in control of the weight. The weight does not control you. Okay, 4th exercise is going to be, I should have brought something lighter for this, but this is a great way to test whether I am up for this. So we're going to do our oblique side to side pike. All right, so starting in this pike position, I'm just holding this weight at chest level, and I'm going to activate my obliques and turn my torso and just bring that weight to the side, and then other side. So I'm not lifting the weight at all. I'm not really maneuvering it at all. I am engaging my obliques to generate that rotational turn, and that, if I'm holding a weight in front of my chest and I rotate my chest, okay, cool, now the weight's to this side. Okay, cool, now the weight's to the other side. All right? So those are our 4 exercises. We've got the lunged bent over row, side 1, side 2. We've got the wide weighted squat, and we've got the oblique pike, okay? That's also not a particularly catchy phrase. Someday I'll go through all my exercises and be like, what are better names for all of these? But it is not this day. So that's 4 exercises. We're going through them 4 times each. So let me just update this. Yeah. And remember, we're gonna do all of our reps in a row at the beginning of the timer. Let's try to aim for 25 to 35, I think is a really solid range. I don't generally change the range that much because I like to leave a lot of flexibility because everybody's in a different place. And so, yeah, you do all of your reps in a row and you use the remainder of the 2-minute timer as rest, stretch, water, whatever. You'll hear knock, knock, knock when you've got 10 seconds and you'll get into position for the next exercise, all right? So grab your gear, whatever you're using for our first round of bend over rows. As soon as you hear that timer, yeah, we are off, okay? So with these rows, definitely want to have your core engaged. That's pretty much a given in almost everything we do. And that shoulder has got to be a part of this activity the whole time, okay? So you don't need to be pulling it up towards your ear, but you don't want it to be getting pulled down by the weight, all right? So really important to check in on your shoulder, especially as you're lowering the weight and going, okay, am I still engaging my shoulder? Is it still feeling like it's able to manage that weight? And if not, I need to re-engage, okay? So that's one of the most important things for this exercise. And we talk about that a lot. Like, our shoulder joint is designed to be fairly unstable because it's designed to have a lot of range of motion, and it does, and that's awesome, and that gives us the freedom to do so many things. But there are times when we need our shoulder to not be able to travel 360 degrees. We need it to be stabilized and to be a source of strength and stability. And that's not something that we are necessarily taught to focus on in many movement traditions, and it can lead to issues, and it certainly has for me. So as we go to the second side, if this is your stronger side, cool, and then just bask in that. And if this is your weaker side, then I want you to really focus in very closely on that shoulder engagement, making sure that shoulder is participating the whole time, okay? And remembering too that you can always downgrade the amount of weight that you're using if you're feeling like you are struggling to get through all of the reps, okay? Make sure that you are being honest with yourself, and that if you are like, I do not know whether I can do another rep without losing the form, then stop, okay? Always, like, I'm going to give you the format that we are going for. I'm going to give you our goal, and it will be some degree of a challenge for all of us, no matter how long you've been doing this. But you know that my stance is always, always that form comes first. And if that means that you can only give me 2 reps today, and you have to just rest the rest of the time, I would rather you do that than try and strong arm your way through 25 to 35 reps and lose the form halfway through, and then you're teaching your body unhealthy movement patterns and potentially setting yourself up for injuries down the line, okay? So form is always the place that we begin, no matter what. And I don't like the concept of going till failure, because I do not want you to keep going if you are failing to maintain the form. But you can get close, but it requires you to learn how to read the signals that your body is sending you, okay? So it requires you to be able to be honest with yourself and to go, okay, if I keep doing reps, I am not going to be able to maintain the form for more than like 1 or 2 more. And then we go, all right, well, then that's my cue to stop. That is my failure point, okay? And just being willing to be honest with ourselves about that is super important, you know? I don't want your last rep to be you like crunching your body in all sorts of weird positions, just trying to wrestle that weight through the air, and you're like, yeah, I got the weight to its final position. And it's like, well, that's exciting, but the exercise is not just, hey, look, I'm in the final position. The exercise is every moment along that continuum, okay? So we don't need to be over here trying to like strong arm our way up to this position. And yeah, it's just not safe. It's just not safe, my friends. So always keep that in mind. Form comes first. No matter what, we are always focusing on that form before we focus in on anything else. And that is one of the first and most important lessons that we learn around communicating with our bodies and teaching ourselves to be able to listen to the signals that they're sending, and then teaching ourselves to actually act on the signals that they're sending, you know? So you may have had coaches when you were younger who were very much on the like work through the pain approach, which anyone who's been taking class with me long enough knows that I absolutely despise. And for many reasons, but one of them is that if you're muscling your way through your body's desperate attempts to send you signals that something is wrong, then you stop understanding how to recognize those signals. And eventually your body goes, well, they're not paying attention to me. Maybe they'll pay attention to this. Injury, illness, incapacitated for some reason, okay? So we do not come here to muscle through unhealthy pain. And there is a difference, and it is something that you can absolutely learn to identify, okay? Quick sip of water. Oh man, all right. That was our first run, and here we are in round 2. So round 2 is when we start the work of checking in on our form, all right? Round 1 was pretty easy. We had pretty fresh muscles. We hadn't worked anything really intensely yet. Round 2, round 2 is sort of the perfect round many times because we're feeling it a little bit, but we can utilize that to really inspire ourselves and push ourselves for a little more intensity in that second round, okay? Woo! This weight, I'll tell you for myself, this weight is right on the edge of what I can safely do. And there is nothing inherently wrong with challenging yourself that way, okay? Like, challenging ourselves is absolutely how we progress forward and hit goals around our fitness. And it's not a bad thing to have goals. It's not a bad thing to have things that we're working towards, as long as you are still being honest with yourself about how everything feels, about how you feel, and about whether you're being safe, okay? So with this amount of weight, I am really paying close attention to myself and to my form the whole time, because I'm like, all right, I'm getting to the ends of these sets and I am really feeling the intensity. So I have to be checking in with myself really frequently to make sure my shoulder's still engaged, to make sure I am controlling the weight the whole time, you know, not letting gravity come in and take control, to make sure that I'm not fanning my elbow out too much, that I'm not losing my balance, that I'm not losing my core engagement, all of that stuff. I really have to keep checking in and making sure that I feel safe. And if I get to that point where I'm like, I'm feeling a little like I'm about to lose the form, then I need to be willing to put the weight down, okay? It's important, so important that we learn how to differentiate, because there are, you can tell the difference. You can tell the difference between, oh, I'm working out and it's super intense, you know, and I'm feeling tired, but I can tell that I still have that energy, and I'm gonna keep pushing because I can tell I can do that. There is a difference between that and, oh my God, something really hurts, that feels really bad and really wrong, but somebody told me that I was supposed to be able to push through the pain, so I'm just gonna ignore it and keep doing the thing, even if it's causing me lots of pain, all right? There is a very distinct difference between those sensations, and you need to be able to read that difference and to be honest with yourself and to say, okay, I have to stop here. I have to take a rest. I have to use a lighter weight or do fewer reps, because otherwise I'm going to injure myself, all right? So it's super important, my friends, and I talk about it a lot. I do, because so many of us grew up with such unhealthy programming around fitness and moving our bodies, and physical education is just, it is horrifying to me how many people have just been completely turned off of exercise, full stop, because of the massively negative experiences that they have had in PE classes when they were growing up. Too many people I know who now have these terrible relationships with physical fitness and with feeling comfortable moving and exercising, because their memory of it is so unpleasant, and because their memory of it is tinged with all these people trying to yell at them to ignore what their bodies were telling them was true. And it is just, oh, I hate it. I hate it so much, because moving our bodies is such a joyful thing, or should be, you know? It is something that so many living creatures take joy in. You watch dogs running around in the snow, or playing fetch, and you're like, that animal is just moving around because of the love of moving around. And we all have that as kids. We all have that as kids, and we get it, you know, trained out of us over the years, and it's just so tragic. It is so tragic to see people go, oh my God, I can't stand exercise classes. Always reminds me of PE and someone yelling at me to run faster, or, you know, shaming me about my body or physical fitness or crap like that. And you're just like, oh my God, this is what we want kids to be taking away from their PE classes? This is what we want to be doing? Setting people up for a lifetime of not enjoying moving their bodies because some PE teacher is on a power trip? Like, no. Yeah, the focus on competition, absolutely. Look, I dropped PE classes and team sports as soon as I could. I moved full-time into the dance program, and I never regretted it. And that was a huge part of why, because I was not energized and inspired by competition. Some people are, and I do not want to take away from that. Some people love having that additional element of competition. All right, third set, my friends. And that is totally fine because we are all motivated by different things, and it's good to find the things that motivate you. So, you know, that is totally legit. But not everybody is motivated by competition. And when we make all of our physical education programs focused around competition, then we are, you know, that's a very big piece of what starts to turn kids away. And then when we shame them for not wanting to participate in that element of movement, well, then that makes it even worse, okay? So, yeah, it is definitely, that is a huge issue. And I haven't even touched on that yet, but yeah, having the only focus of PE and other activities be competition, gotta win, we want our school to be best in the state at everything. And it's like, oh my God, what if I just want to run for the enjoyment of running? Like, can't I do that without also having to feel like I am being, you know, put up against every other child my age in the state? Like, yeah, it is really frustrating to me. And these are the things that people carry with them for the rest of their lives, you know? And that's how you end up coming to movement and coming to exercise so much later in life, because you had such negative experiences as a kid in these team sports setups, in these PE class setups with coaches and teachers who thought that the best way to motivate you was to act like mini drill sergeants. And you know, suddenly you have people who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s and haven't really exercised for their entire lives because they got such a terrible, terrible impression of what exercise was supposed to be. Whoa. Woo! Let me tell you, I am feeling my arms today. Holy crap. Sorry, totally different tack, but man, yeah, that is some intensity for my arms today. You still had to do PE, even running varsity cross country? What? Wow. Yeah, no. My school, and I'm very grateful that they did this. My school, if you were in the dance company, or if you were doing team sport, you didn't also have to do PE classes. But, oh yeah, that is, wow. See, that always cracks me up. People who don't understand what an incredible workout dance is. All types of dance. Ballet is, oh my God. I was watching Center Stage yesterday because that is just such a favorite, like, junkie movie. And it's a movie I love because the dance is really good, you know? They got a lot of professional dancers to star in it, and most of them can't act for shit. But it's a dance movie, and they got people who could dance, and that is so rare, I feel. It's probably better now, but back then it was so rare. But one of the things I love about it is because it's a movie that has all of these professional dancers in it, you actually see people sweating naturally. Like, you see people in rehearsals with just random sweat stains all over their shirts, because you never know where you're gonna get weird little sweat stains. You see, like, people in the middle of performances coming off stage, breathing really heavily, like dabbing themselves, and you're like, oh my God, these people are allowed to sweat. Dance is not this magical, like, oh, look at me, I'm such a wraith moving through air. It is a serious athletic endeavor, my friends. So yeah, that was always a pleasure. But oh my God, anybody doing ballet, they're probably fitter than a lot of people, regardless of whether those people are doing other high-level sports or not. It's the thing that cracks me up too about, like Broadway musical theater performers. And it's like, you may be at the top of your game in your given activity, be that running or swimming or weightlifting, etc., etc. But until you can do your given activity while singing your heart out loudly enough to be heard at the back of the top balcony, and not having the singing sound like it's being done by somebody who is completely out of breath, until you can do that, you are not as fit as a Broadway performer. Like, oh my God, let me tell you, it's been a while since I've been in like a more traditional musical, but oh, that was a hell of a skill set to have, to be able to do involved choreography, and more importantly, like, so many songs had like big dance breaks in the middle of them. You're dancing your heart out, and then you get to the end of the song and you have to finish the song, and you're like, but I've just been dancing for the last 5 minutes, like, I don't have any air left. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter, you still need to sing to the end of the song. So, yes, people very wrongly assume that more artistic forms of movement and exercise are somehow less intense. And I'm here to tell you, that's a crock of shit. All right, my friends, about time for us to go into our last round. All right, so last round, focus on that form. All right, your muscles are feeling it. They have been working their ass off, but they also know that this is the last round, that they're not gonna have to keep going after this. So every last little hidden pocket of energy that you can find, every last piece of focus on keeping that shoulder engaged, controlling the weight the whole time, making sure your standing position is nice and stable, your core is engaged. Oh man, woo! Feeling it, yeah. This is a good class. This is a good class, my friends. And make sure you're drinking water too. I know we're not breaking a sweat in the same way that we normally do, but still very important. It's just, that class always cracks me up. It's like, yeah, look at that. She's gone outside the school and this is where the real dance happens. And you can tell it's real because everybody in the class is being super like sexual about it and they're all making out with each other before class. That's how you know it's really real. And the teacher says like, just dance the shit out of it. And you're like, ooh, she swore because she's so real. And it's just like, okay, calm down, center stage. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's go, second side. As soon as that horn goes. I was prepped. I was ready to go. Oh man. Whew. Yeah, check in on that core engagement. Super important, all right? We want to maintain a flat back with this, all right? Check in on your hip placement too. You don't want to be opening your hip out to the side. You do want your hips to be pointing forward. If you're feeling a little wobbly, you may have your feet too close together, okay? So remember the ski approach where you want to pretend that you've got skis on your feet, and so you know, because of that, you can't have one foot directly in front of the other. You have to have them offset in parallel tracks, right? So keep that in mind. Oof, I know that we'll stretch afterwards, but I'm gonna just shake out my arms a bit now. Woohoo! Yeah. Sometimes it's just really fun to just test yourself with the amount of weight. And just be like, I am just focusing in on what can my body accomplish, you know? And it's good to test that with ourselves every so often because, again, a lot of times our brains get us stuck in this place where they're like, well, this is all we need to expend to be able to do what you're asking me to do. So this is all we should expend because otherwise we may not have energy for that saber-toothed tiger waiting outside the door. And so every once in a while, you really do want to check in and test yourself. And again, doing it safely, stopping if you feel like you're going to lose the form, but frequently surprising yourself and going, wow, I did not realize that my strength had improved to such a degree that I can really rock this particular amount of weight far better than I thought that I could. Alrighty, so always a good thing to test out for ourselves, to remind ourselves that we are total badasses. And even if you're like, I'm really comfortable with my current degree of physical strength and I really just want to maintain here, like knowing that there are more improvements if you ever go, I feel like a challenge again, like that's a good thing to know. It's a cool thing to know. Either way, you can be like, yeah, I'm really cool. And we don't do that often enough for ourselves. So take some time today, tomorrow morning, next week during class to just impress yourself with how cool you are. I think you're pretty cool. And I hope you do too. Oh man, all right. My friends, one more set to go. Our final set for our abdominal exercises. Woo! So remember that you are generating all of the movement using your abdominals, particularly your obliques, okay? Again, I am not lifting this weight and moving it with my arms from side to side. I am twisting my entire torso, and that brings the weight along with it, obviously, because I'm just holding the weight in front of my chest. So when I twist my chest in one direction, the weight comes with it, all right? So just keeping that in mind. It's the problem with the laundry detergent bottle. My hands get covered in this film of detergent. At some point, I should try and actually wipe that bottle off. But we're gonna let the timer finish out so that everybody is able to finish their set in their own time. 10-second movie reviews. Hey, I love that idea. I've been meaning to do more with my Instagram reels. So 10-second movie reviews. I'll put it on the list. Oh my goodness. Friends, what a great class. I really, really do love this class. And we're gonna do a little stretching once the timer goes, which is gonna do in just a second. Well, 10 seconds. Well, probably like 2 seconds now. Time just has this habit of continuing forward. Yeah, good job everybody. All right, we're just gonna just do a little stretching. We're gonna focus on the arms because, man, those rows were intense. Depending on the amount of weight that you were using. All right, so we're gonna bring one arm up, out to the side, and then right across our chest. Grab it just above the elbow and try and pull that upper arm flat into the chest so you're getting a nice stretch in the shoulder and down a little bit into the tricep. Because, yeah, that row really was working our tricep, my friends. Woo-wee. Yeah, and now let them swing around a little bit, and then other side, same thing. You may feel that the stretch is more or less intense on this side. Totally natural either way. Just remember to keep breathing. Nice big breaths. You know, we didn't really get a lot of like heavy breathing in this class, but we always want to be taking nice deep breaths whenever we're doing stretches like this. All right, now we're going to take that first arm up and let the hand drop down to the base of your neck. And take your other hand up to the elbow and just push down on that elbow a little bit. So again, we're getting a nice little shoulder stretch there. And I have at times shown you a modification where you can bring that hand down here and grab your fingers like this. I don't do that one as much anymore because sometimes I think it can exacerbate my existing shoulder issues, but that is always an option depending on the flexibility of your shoulders. All right, other arm up and pushing down. Getting a nice stretch in there. Oh yeah, that feels good. And if you want to try, you can. So you see my right arm doesn't have the same degree of flexibility on this side, so I can't really consistently get it around to grab my other hand. And so on that side, it tends to feel like I'm wrenching my shoulders a little bit rather than intensifying the stretch. So that's really why I stopped doing that modification. But not everybody has that. So if you have a more even flexibility in your shoulders, maybe try that out. All right. Let those arms go, swinging back and forth a little bit. Last but not least, we're going to take our hands, clasp them behind our backs, and then we're just going to let our torsos come over. And you see, I'm not trying to hold my arms up. I'm letting them fall and letting gravity just sort of intensify that stretch, that pull. So I'm not actively pulling them in any direction. I'm just letting gravity. This is one of the few times when it's all right to let gravity participate. All right, and then back up. Yeah. And then we'll do just a real quick standing quad stretch because we had that nice that nice lunge position for the bent over rows. So we're balancing on one foot. I've got a hand on the wall just to steady myself. Other foot is up in my hand and I'm pulling the heel into my butt as close as I can to intensify that stretch. My knee on the working leg is just pointing straight down towards the floor. And now we can shift to the other side. As I always remind you, you can do this just as a balance. Even if you have that capacity, I still recommend having a hand on a wall or a counter or a bookshelf or something, just because it means that you can focus your attention and energy on the stretch rather than splitting it between stretch and managing a balance and not necessarily doing a great job at either, okay? All right. Woo-hoo! Oh my goodness. Your shoulders do not do that. Which one, Amanda? We were doing a lot of shoulder things just then. The last thing? or was it the thing where I grabbed fingers? Because I could see either of them being that last one, yeah. And that, like, it's a nice one because you really don't have to do anything. You just get into the position and then wherever your arms are, there they are. And gravity will slowly but surely help to intensify the stretch over time. Yeah, they just do not go back far enough for gravity to take control. Interesting, yeah. I would love to look into more arm and shoulder stretches. That's going to be something that I check into over the next month, I think. But yay! Oh, what a good class, my loves. Interesting. Okay. Tell me something. How's your hamstring flexibility when you actually bring your torso over? Can you get your hands down to the ground, or are you up a little bit as well? It's very strange having a conversation with somebody where they have to talk and chat and I'm just talking to the camera. It's one of the odd things about streaming and teaching in this manner. I love it, but this is definitely one of those moments when I'm like, I wish I could be in the room with you. Your fingers can touch the ground. Okay, so really, really sounds like it is your shoulder flexibility. Huh, cool, interesting. Friends, what a great way to end a Friday. Yeah, I love this class. It is such a relaxing class, which feels a little weird to say considering how intense those exercises were. But man, I feel like we can really just sort of settle in and hang out with each other and just have a lot of fun. And that is something that I absolutely love to do. And I'm always so happy to have this class with y'all. Happy that, the power of the hot sauce did not last past Wednesday. Oh my God. We've got one more class this week. It's tomorrow morning, the weekend kickoff at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. It's our awesome strength and stamina focused bodyweight class. It's one of my favorite classes. So definitely come and join us for that. It's earlier than any of the other classes, yes, but not too early, unless you're, in Hawaii. Then it might be a little early, but it's a wonderful way to start the day. And we have a great gang of folks who come to that. So definitely come take that class if you can. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All of those handles will be in my end cards, but they are all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload all the VODs from these streams, so you never have to miss a class, even if you can't make the live cast. So definitely head over there and subscribe. If you want to help support me financially in making these streams, I do have a coffee account, Blanche Case Fitness. Your donations are always very much appreciated. And if you want to help me keep growing this channel, then please do follow. Tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for an awesome class. I stream 4 days a week. We have a wonderful community. We are so close to Twitch affiliate, and we just have a great time, and I want to do more over 2021. So yeah, come join the ride, my friends, because it's a fun one. It's a fun one, most definitely. But now I think that I'm going to go take a quick shower and get ready for WandaVision. Yeah! So definitely have a shower, finish your water, and then make sure to refill it. Have an excellent dinner so you can start replenishing those fuel stores, especially if you plan to come to class tomorrow morning. And I will see you all back here tomorrow. Have a great night.